The Scapegoat here with the mighty Conan. Thank you very much, John and Chris, for coming down, giving me some of your time. So, can we start like all good stories do at the beginning? How did you get the band together? How did you meet? Things like that.
Okay, well, the band started. I think the idea was around about 2005, mid 2005. I was staying in my parents' spare room temporarily, and I'd been in and out of bands since my youth, and I wasn't playing any music at all at that point in time. I don't even think I had any equipment, and I decided to start something up, and I thought, well, I'll try and be like, rather than just go along the path I'd had, which was just like a rock band, a bit like Foo Fighters or Nirvana or whatever. I discovered like bands called Slamatics, and I'd started listening to High on Fire. Through Slamatics, I started listening to Black Cobra.
Yeah.
And I thought, what about like a really sort of simple style of heavy metal that was within my capabilities as a guitarist, and with just shouty vocals over. That was the initial, very basic blueprint. And
so you're finding that Venn diagram of what you can play and what you like, and where that overlaps.
Yeah, exactly. And it overlapped quite nicely. You know, I was happy just to play one note for an hour. You know, just like I got pleasure out of that. So I just started playing stuff on my own, and then I thought of the name Conan, and the lad who played bass in some of my other bands, Rich Grundy, we were still friends, and we were still practicing actually here and there with different drummers, because we were still like for a while trying to resurrect the other band that I was in. And
that was, just for clarity?
Oh well, it's probably not worth mentioning, but it was called Release at first, and then Windago, and then it turned into Evil Eye after that song by Fu Manchu, and we were really shit. But like, I mean,
that's where you got to start.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. Yeah, you totally have, and I'm not embarrassed about it at all. But we were like totally different, you know.
Yeah.
But so started Conan, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Me and Chris met we first started talking, I think, in 2007, 8 maybe, when we were talking about having a demo done.
8 or 9, yeah.
It was early 2008, because we were going to get a demo done with Chris, sorry, I don't know, I should be addressing you, but we were going to get a demo done with Chris, and by the time we decided to do the demo, Chris had moved to Foal Studio.
Okay.
And if I recall correctly, when we spoke about recording the demo eventually, when we organised everything, Foal was just a bit out of our price range to have a simple demo done, so we recorded a demo in Liverpool. And then the first time we actually met, I believe, was when we first went to Foal Studios in 2009 to record Horseback Battlehammer.
Yeah. So what was your background leading up to then meeting John?
Well, I mean, I've been into heavy music since I was, teenager, kind of like a lot of people. Play guitar in bands when I was in school, and then bands at uni, and then after that, and I was in a band in Leeds, because I was at uni in Leeds. We were called Agent of the Marais, and we played mainly around sort of the North England kind of, but we did a couple of tours, UK tours and that sort of stuff. Came up here, played in Glasgow actually. We played in like Aberdeen, Edinburgh, and whatever. And we ended up doing a split with Slamatics in 2008. So a split CD, which is how John sort of found out about me, I guess, through that. And
you're more like, did you go academically, go and learn how to do sound production and things like that?
Yeah,
like a hobby that you like?
I wanted to do that from kind of as soon as I found out that was an actual job.
Right.
I remember I had always been interested in engineering. I wanted to be a sort of like a mechanical engineer or draftsman.
You wanted to be the boffin?
Well, more like I wanted to do. Originally, I wanted to like design cars and stuff like that.
Okay.
I've always been into that kind of thing, but never quite good enough or patient enough to study hard at maths. So to do actual proper engineering, you need to be good at maths, and I was like, can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But then I found out that you could do you could combine sort of a techie kind of thing with music.
Yeah.
And I'd never even considered that was a job, you know.
Yeah.
And as soon, literally, the moment I was aware that was an actual job, I was like, well, obviously I'm going to do that.
Yeah, the doors just open.
Yeah,
that's what
I didn't actually have any concept of the fact it's actually a pretty difficult industry to get into. I just sort of like blindly headed towards that sort of, career path.
So to take it back just a little bit, can you explain why it is Conan? Why did you settle on that name, or was it just phonetically sounded right for what you were doing?
In simple terms, like the music was very basic. The themes of the lyrical themes were all to do with sword and sorcery and mythology and fantasy, and I don't know what other names we considered. I think we practiced under the name of Elf Beater for a little while.
Cool.
That was some guy's avatar on fucking Call of Duty or something at the time. And Conan was, if I recall correctly, it just came to me one day when I was thinking about we need like a name which kind of suits the music.
Yeah.
And I thought Conan's like quite an over-the-top name for this sort of heavy metal. I would have thought, well, what's wrong with that? I thought
fit you guys perfectly.
I saw a lot of bands having like clever names.
Yeah.
You know, like the something or some interesting like angle on something that, you know, is the word esoteric? I don't know.
Or like a pretentious name like Agent and Mariah.
Agent and Mariah, which
actually turned out, well, being pretentious, but actually it's a spelling mistake as well.
Right.
Pretentious and stupid at the same time. But
yeah.
Did you get away with it?
Yeah, well, no one knew what it meant, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So that was that. It just suited the music, and it kind of came to me, and
it came organically.
Yeah, and it was available, so I just set up a MySpace page as it was back then. Like I set it up that day.
So going again, like you've mentioned the Slowmatics and a couple of other bands there, but influence-wise, who was like getting you on that track to play this vast wall of noise, insane music that you play now?
Well, at the very beginning, it was Slowmatics and High on Fire.
Yeah.
I wanted to play music. I wanted to like sort of blend some of the lyrical themes that High on Fire were playing. The albums that I had heard at that time, Surrounded by Thieves and The Art of Self-Defense, a lot of it seemed to be in line with what the lyrics I was writing. Matt Pike was a lot better a lyricist than I was, and still is now.
Yeah,
but back then the gap was probably bigger, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if I can write music that kind of nods at that sort of theme, but it's really simple like Somatics, and simple but effective like Somatics, I thought it'd be awesome to blend those two things, and I think that I'd really enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And it was something I could lose myself in and kind of get myself through the next 12 months. And that's exactly what it is.
Well, as I say, it's that blurring of different things now. It's not ultra rigid like it used to be. It's like, oh, you're a thrash band, oh, you're a doom band. It's just got to be this one thing now. And I don't think that's quite true.
No, it's fun to do a mixture. Like, we got some slow stuff and we got some mid-paced stuff now.
Yeah.
Fast stuff.
And some fast stuff too, you know.
How dare you?
Yeah, no, it's crazy, isn't it? But like, we were talking yesterday, was it, about like the sort of set lists that we used to play. We'd be like pretty limited in what we could play. Obviously, we didn't have that much recorded output.
Yeah.
But now that we got a few albums out, we tend to be leaning more towards the songs which are a little bit more aggressive and upbeat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's transport back. You were saying around like 2008, 2009, this is when the band's starting, and then 2010 when that came out. How did you guys solidify that sound? How did you also pick out the tracks that you want to then fulfill that and things like that? How did that come to be, is what I'm asking?
What do you mean, like on a live setting, or do you mean how did we come to record it?
Yeah, both.
Okay, well, quite simple really. They were the only songs we had.
Right.
So when we went in to record Horse by Battlehammer, originally the intention was just to record the songs that we had ready, and maybe we did have one other song that we played live once in Liverpool where it was absolute shit, and I've lost it now.
Yeah,
I don't even know what it is anymore.
Not happy with that.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is now. And there was another track called Temple of Mu, which is on the Battle in the Swamp demo, which is also shit. So we don't play that live anymore either. But yeah, when we recorded, it was just like a recording of what we had available at that time.
So it's kind of like planting your flag. We're done with these now. Let's think about something new now.
Yeah, maybe not even as thoughtful as that. We just kind of just recorded them, and there was no big plan.
Yeah.
We weren't like a band who had ambitions of playing live and doing everything. We just recorded it and then on a whim just sent it to a few labels, and it snowballed from there.
Yeah.
We got lucky, you know, when somehow we captured people's imagination, and we got like a couple of offers, and we took one of them, and it was released on vinyl, and no one knew who we were, and it kind of took people by surprise. And I guess on a really on a very small level, it kind of just caused a bit of a storm, and we've just ridden the wave from there since then.
Well, I also think you guys are lovely blokes, and you put yourselves out there in that nice way, so I can understand why you get that love back as well.
Yeah.
Especially looking over the evolution of your band and like how many releases that you've got, which are also splits as well.
There's a few, yeah.
Yeah, there are a few out there, and that's the thing of like you must collaborate with these people and be on stage with them most nights and things like that. So
well, we've done a split with Slamatics and Bong Ripper. Slamatics was just because like we've been itching to play together for a long time, because they were like a huge influence on the band from very early times.
Yeah.
Chris, had you played the Slamatics before?
No, we never actually did. We were going to when my old band did the split with them, but for whatever reason, mainly down to laziness on our part and the fact those guys have got busy lives. We never actually did anything, so
life getting in the way then.
Yeah. And lack of ambition, definitely from my band's part. But yeah.
So how did the Bong Ripper one come to be then?
We were doing a UK tour with them, and it just seemed like it'd be a good idea to record something and put it out with for the tour to support.
Yeah.
And we recorded it with Chris, of course, and
did it in one day.
Did it in one day,
a single
song.
Yeah. Thought that sounded it. I'm not gonna lie, like that song.
In the first studio I ever worked in, actually, is the Sales Report, which is kind of down the road from where we are now.
Yeah.
We did it in there in one day.
It was the worst loading ever, because it's basically a house, like an upstairs flat.
Yeah, it's a great studio, but they're trying to get massive PV, what was it?
It's a PV30 620.
Yeah.
Did you think that? Like,
it was
so 218 and a 210 in the same cab, up a set of stairs in what was basically like a domestic property.
Oh my god.
So it was, and I about 4 or 5 days earlier, I got Bell's palsy. So I was in no fit state to play and record.
And love shit about and do all
it wasn't good. And we recorded that song. I think I got in bed about 1 a.m. and we'd set our alarms for 30 minutes later because we had to get up and drive to Le Havre in France to start a European tour. So it was like mad. But that's how the Bong Ripper collaboration came about. Yeah.
So from back then in 2010 all the way up to now in 2018, how do you guys think you've evolved? How have we got to today? Gear-wise, what you play, who you collaborate with?
Well, different people in the band.
Yeah,
I'm in the band now.
Yeah, Chris is in the band. Chris is like the longest. He's like the longest serving member of the band now, aside from me.
Yeah, you don't count.
I don't count now. No,
I still feel like I'm new, but sometimes. But technically I've been in I think longer than
yeah. Chris is here to stay now. He's not allowed to leave anymore. But we
chained to each other.
Yeah, literally in more ways than one. But then we not in a relationship, but like just on a business level.
Not yet.
But you never know. You never know. Things happen. What goes on tour stays on tour. Is that right? Oh no, he's got his fiancée with us, so that's not happening. So anyway, obviously Johnny joined on drums. He started playing with us in October last year.
Yeah.
So feels like a really settled lineup. How have we evolved? I think musically, I don't know. I always say this, but we just got better at doing what we can do.
Yeah.
We haven't changed in lots of ways. I think we just got better.
Yeah.
We're a little bit more aggressive now, aren't we, in terms of how we sound. The lyrics and that are still pretty much the same, although maybe here and there they've gotten a little bit little darker.
Yeah.
And equipment-wise, I don't know, not a great deal has changed really.
Your equipment changes.
Wait, I'm going to say time out on that. I look at like your both Facebook feeds, and it's the ever-growing Rolodex, revolving door of gear, new guitars, new stacks. But come on now.
That's just part and parcel, though.
My stuff has stayed the same for ages. I mean, if I buy gear from the studio as and when I can afford it, but that's for the studio. John changes his stuff every 5 minutes, but it generally always sounds the same anyway.
I've got a Flying V from Dunnable Guitars. Chris and I have both got like a relationship now with Dunnable Guitars, where we get we prefer to use his instruments, but we prefer to use them because they're awesome.
Yeah.
And through that, we now have a bit of a relationship with him. So
did you just give him a spec and be like, this is what I want it to be my baby, or did they give you one off the shelf and then you tinkered with it?
Well, I think he has like stock designs, and we tweaked it a bit to make
it's all built to order, so it's essentially everything is custom. But I mean, he'll do completely custom things, won't he? But obviously, I guess that's more expensive, you know. Or if you work around the standard stuff and then get it fitted to your spec, then
you got to hone it to be your own. So.
But I love my bass. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're really happy with this gear. It's cool. I guess one thing now, I don't use valve amps anymore, live. I switched over to using a solid state setup. Obviously things can go wrong with any setup, but I found that with the valve amplifiers, I just seem to be developing technical problems more often than I would expect.
Okay.
And I wasn't doing anything weird with it. I was, it wasn't I wasn't
abusing it in any
No,
way.
not at all. And I looked after them very well. But I just found that no matter what valve amplifier I used, different brands, I always seem to have issues in general. And at the moment, I'm using these Hilbish preamps into a solid state power amp, and it's like a Sun Beta. That's what the sound it is. It's a clone of that. But I'm happy with it at the moment. I'm not going to commit to not ever swapping to something else. But for now, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, you're finding out exactly what you want to stick with. You still got to go through all that Rolodex and stuff until you find it.
Yeah, exactly. We got a relationship with Ampeg on bass is an obvious one for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Matt Amp with me on guitar. I've just ordered another set of two 412s today, so I'm going to start playing with 2 full stacks again.
Jesus Christ.
On this tour, I've got a full stack and an 810, but I think it's a bit too low endy. Not middle, actually. Yeah, tonight, because of where my cabs are, it sounds so bassy, and I'm not sure whether I want that really. So they'll be ready in a week or so. That I'll have them on the next tour.
So this then goes along nicely to talk about Skyhammer and how did that come to be, and as I say, is kind of seen like the mecca of the UK of angry dissonant music comes out of there. So how did that come to be, and how did we get to here now with that lineage of Skyhammer?
Well, it's on my property, but Chris is the guy who runs it. It's his studio really, so we should tell you.
John's my landlord essentially when it comes to the studio. I rent. John converted the building when they bought their house.
Yeah.
And then I rent it off them and just run it. So when I'm the next day after we come back from this, I'm in the studio. So that'll be cool. But
it started out as initially when we bought the house, that the building it's in is a converted coach house. The house is it's on 1/3 of an acre. It's a big Victorian semi-detached house.
Cool.
We've got one neighbour, and the rest of everyone else who lives nearby is quite far away, and it's in a rural area, so it's cool. But originally I wanted to put a practice room in there, and then the cost involved with that and all the hassle I had with trying to get someone to do the job. I gravitated towards putting a studio in there, and for a little while, I used to be a really successful practice room demo recorder for other bands. I wasn't actually. I recorded one, and I asked for the money back. But I thought, if that's a true story, actually.
Big money.
Yeah, it's true. And so originally, it was going. I had this idea of putting on the record and trying to learn how to do it. If I'd have done that, I'd have failed miserably. But I'm glad I didn't. But Chris and I were obviously friends already, and we were talking about the studio, and I was like, what do you think I should do? What mic should I buy? Blah, blah, blah. And then Chris texted me at one point, your words were, I've got this really crazy idea, can we talk for a minute? And I said, okay. So we arranged the telephone conversation that night, I think at 11 p.m. or something, I think.
Yes.
So we had a chat that night, and Chris suggested that he would like to maybe come and work in the studio, and I said okay, sure. We were on, and that was that really.
It's turned into an institution, lads. You've done an absolutely a great job with it, and
it's all Chris. I can't take any credit.
Well, The idea was there, but the execution...
Yeah, it's in a nice place.
Yeah, it's
the recordings that come out of there are all cool stuff.
I've been doing some really interesting stuff. I mean, obviously, the kind of bread and butter stuff that I do is, heavy guitar bands and that kind of thing. But over the last kind of 12 months, I've done a few more things a bit left field from that. I did the latest album by Moose Philip, a black metal band, but they did a completely folk album, so all acoustic.
Okay.
So classic guitars.
So you're trying to expand your repertoire as well?
No, I'm not trying to, but it's just I've worked with those guys for as long as I've worked with Conan. So they're friends of mine from even before then as well. So we go back a long way. So they wanted to do this because they've always had that kind of folky kind of influence, and they do like a couple of tracks in between their normal metal stuff. They wanted to do a full album of it, so we did that, and it came out great, and it's been doing really well with reviews and stuff, and so that's really good. From that session, they had a woman called Jo Quayle play cello, and I just finished working with her on her album as well, and that's. She's a kind of like contemporary sort of experimental cellist, so like acoustic and electric cello, but all through loops and bringing it through amps and making beats out of it. Yeah, well, I mean, we just finished it. It's not been mastered yet, but that album's great. It's really good. Like it verges from sort of like really obscure, sort of like dissonant classical, so really heavy, like almost like doom on cello, to then like electro and stuff, and it's just cool. Yeah, that was great. That was really fun to do that. And
so I take it then, as this juggernaut of Skyhammer and Conan were still going along, I take it this is why Black Bow became a thing.
Yeah. Black Bow Records. I mean, I didn't want to have a label for very long. It just kind of happened, like, within the space of a few weeks of our first ever booking.
Okay.
There was a band called Bass. There is a band called Bass.
Yeah.
And they came in the studio. They were the first ever booking for the studio. And I listened to the stuff, and the guitarist, Craig, turned up, and he had a Conan back patch on his jacket. And I think I may have already considered maybe releasing it on their behalf.
Yeah.
And when they came in the studio, they recorded, and I got chatting to them, and I wasn't sure at that point how to like bring up the subject of like, what are you doing with the release? But I just kind of asked them if they had any plans, and they didn't have a label, and I just said, well, why don't I release it for you? And then that was it, really.
Okay.
Everything else was just kind of setting up the business side of having a label, and it snowballed from there. And it's obviously a good advert for the studio, because everyone who buys a copy of that record, it's got Chris's name on it.
Yeah.
And it's got the studio's name on it, and all the press is going to mention Chris in the studio. So it was like a really like it was a really good like. It was like mutually beneficial for the label and the studio, having releasing this.
You can find forces of several things to come out in one way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or like Conan recording there as well as Bast.
Yeah.
It's like someone picks up that record who's in another band who might be a fan of Bast or Boss Keloid or Headless Cross or Slamatics. They go, where was that recorded? It sounds awesome. With Chris at Skyhammer. Shit, I better book some time in for my band.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. The
happens.
stable of bands that both utilizes your like kind of studio, and then the other guys that actually do both utilize the studio as well as the label. It's a great stable of bands like Cold Splod's in there, and Slow Mangs, yourself. Like the list is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So now my vinyl selection is getting out of control.
Yeah.
You need to slow down, or else I'm going to be too poor.
Yeah. Well, I've got Cold Splod's. Cold Splod released their most recent album with Spine Farm, and they didn't put it out on vinyl. I'm not sure why, but they ended up leaving the label of their own free will, of their own volition. And John McNulty, of course, was the first ever bass player to record with Conan. He was in Conan for a little while, and he left Conan to really to concentrate on Cold Splod.
Yeah.
with his now wife, Jem. So they're really close friends of ours, and they asked me if I'd release their latest album on vinyl. So that's coming out soon.
I'll mark a copy.
Yeah.
I think I've already said that one.
Yeah. I'll sort you out. And lots of other cool bands.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really proud actually that it doesn't have. I think when I'm kind of old and kind of maybe not doing the label anymore, I'll probably look back and think that was actually a really awesome thing to do.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in the middle of all of the business side of it, so it's hard to kind of take in, look at it with it.
Yeah,
like,
you can't see the big picture yet because you're still painting it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or like you can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah.
Well, it's very busy. You know, I've got like countless releases digitally. I like to release digital music for bands who might need a bit of a leg up as well.
Yeah.
You know, bands who maybe I wouldn't be comfortable investing money in for a physical release. Because you know, you're talking like minimum £1,500 for a vinyl release.
Yeah.
So, you know, just do a basic 12-inch without a gatefold. It's like between 1,200 and 1,500 quid.
So it's not a cheap venture.
Not for a band who maybe are just starting out in life.
Yeah.
Because the way things are now, for bands not touring and visible, then I might as well just give you 1,500 quid.
Yeah.
I'll sell just as many records that way. You know, it's so I try and for the bands who I'm going to invest money in. You know, I don't have a lot of money, so it's like it's got to be the bands who are actually touring.
But it's also the one which have like taken you, like you've seen them and been like, God damn, that's good enough.
Oh yeah,
ticks the box, and vice versa with yourself. You might have someone to think about being like, these guys got me in the studio or something.
Well, that's the first step. There are plenty of bands who I've listened to them and thought they are absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But if they're not touring, then I won't commit to a release because
they got back to the band. They got to go and do it.
Yeah, I'll just have a case full of records that I can't sell, which has happened. You know, I've released two releases for two bands who split up shortly after. So it's like, fuck's sake, how am I going to sell these? I'm like, 3 actually. So, but that's me being naive at the very beginning. Now I'm a little bit more cautious about committing to releasing some. But anyway, it's a very pleasurable experience.
That makes sense.
And I'm really happy to work with the bands that I'm working with.
Well, you touched on it there about touring bands, and I personally think the best way how to see music is to see it live, to actually go and see the bands playing the music that they've written.
Yeah.
So, can you guys talk a little bit about your touring schedules, of like what you've been up to, and like as you say, we were talking earlier about America and Japan and things like that. So, can you go over like things recently or in the past, how things have gone?
Well, we did. The last, I suppose, probably starting last autumn, we did a 3-week tour with mona.miluski, who is destroyed now, and that was great. So that was all around the sort of usual haunts in sort of mainland Europe, so Germany and France and
Switzerland, Austria,
Spain,
Czech Republic. Did we do that? We went to Hungary. No, we went. No, Budapest.
Was it in the year? That was in March.
Fucking hell. So yeah.
But always got on road anyway.
As you can see.
Yeah. So
it all blurs together.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Good night to you. But yeah, so we did a mona.miluski tour, and then directly after the mona.miluski tour, literally the day we got back, we were in the studio, sort of solidifying ideas for the album that we've been writing. Because Johnny had just joined the band. John had some riff ideas. We would then jam in sound checks with Johnny, some of the ideas, and then we'd all throw in stuff and we'd record it on the iPhone on the floor, and then listen to it in the van the next day. And then we got back. We went to Skyhammer and we did like 3 days just jamming constantly with everything set up for record.
So you had the free idea fragments, flash them out.
And then we recorded demos of everything, apart from one song which is actually on the album that we recorded in that session.
Right.
The guitars, bass and drums, which were sort of written and recorded, and it's on the album. But anyway, won't spoil the surprise on that one. But and then 2 weeks later, or a week and a half later, we got Johnny back over and we tracked the drums properly. And then we were recording the guitars and bass, and then a few bits of guide vocals and stuff. And then we went to America, North America and Canada. Yeah. That was 5 weeks.
That's a decent sized slap time.
Yeah,
that was a pretty substantial US tour, wasn't it?
It was fairly easy, wasn't it, really? I'll say not easy, but everything
It turned out alright.
Yeah.
So if you weren't sleeping or playing, you were driving.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Or eating burritos.
Yeah. The drive down back tour was
heavier.
Definitely.
The thing about touring America is, the longer you go for, the easier it is, because the drives are shorter. The killer on tours in America is the length of the drives.
Yeah.
Now, obviously it's a big place, so if you play fewer shows, you have to spread them out. So you don't play. Say you play in Seattle and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
If you do like a longer tour, you could do Seattle, Portland, Eugene, Los Angeles, which is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
In the past, though, we've gone over there for like a shorter time. We've had to do Seattle and then somewhere much further away.
You packed the van and you're driving that night, so
and
the first tour we did what, 3, as well as massive long drives in the day. We did 3 overnight drives where it was, as soon as we loaded the van, we were in the van driving. And we got there at loading time or late, actually, the next day.
Yeah, the guy who drove was.
I know you like driving about.
Oh fuck no, I'm not driving in America.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, are you a sadist? If you were going to do both.
It would be actually impossible to drive and play on the tours we've done in the past. I mean, I don't know, we probably could just about manage it on the tour that we did the other month, but even then, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
And actually, it's much more fun getting to see the country and...
You also have a moment to take care of yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly,
constantly on all the time, you don't want to blow yourself out.
No, you've got to have a rest in between. Especially after flying there with jet lag and everything.
And then you were saying, like, you came back from the States, and then you went away to Japan.
We had one gig in Wales.
Yeah, we played this really high-profile festival called Hammerfest in Pwllheli. There's a really good scene around there for doom metal, and then we went to Japan. We played in Pwllheli. Then the very next day we recorded a video for one of our songs.
Oh yeah.
And then the following Friday we went to Nagoya. No, it wasn't the Friday. Maybe the wedding. What day did we fly out?
We
don't remember.
We had to drive. Yeah, we had to drive.
Denver, Colorado, Pwllheli, Wales, Nagoya, Japan. That was our 3 shows. We flew to Japan, did 3 shows: Nagoya, Osaka, Tokyo. Sold out show in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Hadn't been done in 10 years at that venue, and they did like a matinee showing of the Doom documentary.
Yeah, that's right. I still need to see that. That's probably great.
Yeah, it was cool, and so the room was full of people to watch the documentary, and then obviously the show followed on, and it was a sellout show, and it was insane. And everyone was telling us how polite the Japanese audiences are. I mean, and I'm not saying they were impolite, but they weren't like standoffish at all. They were lovely and fully into it.
Yeah.
We expected them to be like really like reserved.
Yeah.
And they loved it.
They cut those.
Yeah, we played one of the songs off the new album towards the end of the set, and that, I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a tiny bit, but it's like I don't wear glasses when I play, so my eyesight's slightly blurry. And I just remember like faces coming over, like crowd surf and landing on the stage, and then jumping back in. It was amazing.
Wow. Well, that's also amazing. So
yeah, one of the best shows.
So, what is the impetus to play this style of music then? Why do you pack the band up and play some blisteringly heavy music, smelling each other's farts for days on end?
Yeah, it's one of my farts.
Yeah. So what's the impetus to do this? Why is it such an extreme thing that you guys are so passionate about to not just record, but to press and play and tour and all the other things that go along with it? What's the impetus to do it?
Well, we're both huge fans of music in general.
Yeah.
We both enjoy it on a personal level, and we're fortunate enough that we're quite business savvy, I guess, if one way of looking at it, and we both have built, careers, if you want to call it that, within music. And because we enjoy music so much, it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
I mean, when you boil it down, we're running a record label, running a recording studio. They are businesses, but because we're dealing in and we're working in an area that we both feel really passionate about. We're both like music people. Yeah. Then getting to run a label, getting to run a recording studio, getting to, like you say, get in a van and go and drive somewhere and play shows. It's really enjoyable. Yeah. And for me personally, it's a really like I really enjoyed the release of just like being creative.
And plus, it is an outlet as well. You're feeling good, go play the guitar. Feeling pissed off, go play the guitar.
Yeah. I mean, our music isn't like there's no. It's not like we don't play like aggressive music, which. So it's not like any sort of vent for any personal problems, you know. It's just really enjoyable. Yeah. And I love it.
I wouldn't say the band doesn't sound aggressive.
No, we do sound aggressive, but it's not like we're not like singing about personal issues. Yeah. We're not like venting. We're not like this, like, you know, singing about something I might have trouble with.
Or flat problems that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you know, my kid. We've got no songs about chicken pox. You know, my kids have got chicken pox. We don't sing about anything personal. It's all fun, but we've kind of grown. I don't think either of us. Well, I'll speak for me now for a second. I didn't expect to be able to do what I do and focus solely on music. I worked in HR for years and training and recruitment. I was that guy ringing up a building site, you need any labourers today? And then I got into a slightly better job, but I was helping unemployed people get training opportunities. And then from there I went to work as a HR manager in a facilities management company. And when the band started to get a bit busier, when the studio started to get a bit busier, and when I started the label, I saw an opportunity to get out of all of that and really focus on music.
Yeah, just be you doing the thing that you like.
Yeah. Since I was like a teenager, I always wanted to do music. I always wanted to play music, basically. And all the other stuff is kind of bolted on. Yeah. And like supports the playing.
It supports the dream of you getting there.
Yeah, exactly. It's an old boss of mine called James Flannery said that if the key to like sort of happiness or success, if you want in like your professional life, is to diversify within one area.
Agreed.
And you know, like in my like office, I've got my guitars connected to the iMac, so I can like write some riffs there. In the corner, I've got a desk where to make cables, and the room is just full of what's that IKEA vinyl, whatever, you know, like the square thing. It's like an IKEA rack that you can fill with vinyl. I've got the whole room is covered in that. So almost everything, like it's like the epicenter really of all the music stuff that I do.
You come down and take this place out.
Yeah, it's a mess at the moment, and it smells of gerbil piss. So it's probably not that much fun right now. But yeah, my daughter's got 2 gerbils. But I just love being able to not work for someone else. Yeah. Because I kind of.
But it's also that community as well. You've got to have a good community to go around you, because at the same time, if it's not in the place that you are, it's to go and find it at a place that it is happening.
Yeah.
I was recently down at Leeds in the Temple of Boom, and that was an eye-opener as well for me, because I've never been there. And there's so many things that work. Oh, you're not a musician, but you could do printing of T-shirts or radio station DJing, or you can make the beer that then the people drink later on. Yeah. You're all a part of the same thing, but it's all going towards the same point. Yeah. And finding them people, I think, is also a big point of that as well.
I'm really proud that we've been able to contribute so much.
That's what it's about.
You know, we're very happy to be a part of this. You know, it's cool that the band has been able to contribute so much to the music scene. You know, and through the studio.
Well, I mean, Sarah, my fiance, who's with us on the store, she actually does. She's a musician as well. She plays in a band based in Belfast called Darkest Era. Okay. But she also does stream music, so she does all our merch. So all the merch that we sell, basically most.
I pretty much just bought one.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah. And she's on tour with us. She's selling it as well. But yeah, she does our merch and stuff. And,
another thing that I was going to talk to you guys about is that some of your artwork is stellar. Like, do you guys do it? Is there anyone you know that does it? If so, who does? And how do you get these concepts put down?
We don't do it ourselves. The guy who designs all of our artwork and the images you see on the merch is a guy called Tony Roberts, and he's from Oklahoma in America. He's done the artwork on every single release, apart from live at Bannerman's. Because
I was there, bro.
and you were there. Was you there?
And the split with Bong.
The split with Bong Ripper as well. We had that was basically that's a collection of photographs of amplifiers. Our side of it. Roland Scriver, he plays guitar in Poseidon. Poseidon. He's just joined on it. And Serpent Venom, of course. And he's a friend of ours. He did the artwork on live at Bannerman's. And he also did the Black Flag rip-off T-shirt that we've got.
The caps,
And aside from that, it's all been Tony. But like he's been like a bit like Chris, really. He's been like with the band since day one, and like a very important member of the team. You know, because we rely on him really, because it is like the way he visualises the music, and it creates like an awesome cover for the album.
It sets up what's on the inside, like so well. That's why I have to give a shout out to it, because it is amazing. Every single time I get one, I'm like, ready.
We look at I remember being a younger man and looking, like when I first started getting into Slayer, for example. I remember getting the artwork for Rain and Blood. And looking at it and thinking, that is awesome. And then looking at the artwork whilst listening to the music was like the artwork really boosted the experience of listening to the album.
I think things just like looking through. I remember when I was a kid looking through in like Virgin HMV or whatever, metal stuff. And obviously this is, in the 90s and stuff, before the internet and
you had no idea. Literally go by.
I remember covers that stood out in my mind, like stuff like just like probably Transparent Hunger by Dark Throne or something.
Everywhere we go, not Jared, don't get peace of mind.
Let's be interrupted by But yeah, to see like Transparent Hunger by Dark Throne standing out, you probably haven't even heard it. And I remember thinking like, that looks like terrifying. Like, what is on that album, and and it's, the artwork is so important to.
It is crucial. I think it is crucial. Like even with this modern society where you can like download or listen to the MP3 or YouTube or whatever, the album art still, I think, is crucial to any release.
If the album art's good, it adds to the whole thing.
Definitely.
And I think it's really, we made the decision very early on to get like very bold artwork on the albums, and it's worked because it was never the intention, but the merch is also very popular, and everything kind of fits in nicely. Tony does.
It's a whole package. It's not just one thing at a time. It's all got working at the same time.
Yeah, we got lucky. We got lucky to finding Tony, and we got lucky by being engaging with him, which in a way which made him willing to work with us for so long. And I'm very grateful that we've been able to get the same guys to do all of our artwork, because it's perfect.
Right, well, the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is the fact that the whole point about this is to highlight bands that I personally think deserve the shout out, more of a spotlight, and to give you a platform to say what you want without being edited and all that. So, last but not least, is there any bands that you think deserve the shout out that don't quite get a spotlight? Good live show, just up and coming, anything? Any good bands that you need to go and see?
Can you think of any? There's this band from Sweden called Monolord. They're really lovely people, actually, and we're very happy to share a tour with them. And that's
the only people you like.
They're the only band that we've ever enjoyed touring with. Let me think. Any bands that aren't in the spotlight, who would you suggest?
I'm terrible for these sort of things. I mean, they've actually been getting a lot of attention. But a band that I worked with at the studio end of last year, Boss Keloid.
We were actually listening to that latest album all the way here.
Okay, yeah.
Insanely good.
Yeah, that album came out great.
Granule.
Granule.
Played with this band in Japan called Granule, and I had the impression that they were going to be like, well, they are a hardcore sludge band, and then the drummer then switches onto this like the vocalist goes on drums, and the drummer goes the vocalist Hikari goes on drums, and then the drummer goes on like it's like a sorry,
percussion.
Percussion. Is it not of like? Did he not have samples as well? I was watching it at the side stage. He had like a track, like a pad or something.
Well, we played 3 shows with those guys, and they were kind of the sort of, well, they were the sort of Japanese touring band that we toured on, I think. And they were lovely guys, and they provided some of the backline as well, and they picked us up from the airport and all that sort of stuff, dropped us off at the end. Yeah, and absolutely lovely guys. Showed us around, took us to restaurants and all that sort of stuff. But the first night I played with them in Nagoya, they played a set of like crushing, brutal, corrupted style sludge, and it was really oppressive and just like really heavy, you know. And I was watching thinking, yes, this is really cool. Next night we played in Osaka, and like we'd gone for a little wander around to have a look, and John wanted to go and buy some
Underpants.
Underpants, yeah. So
I never take underpants on tour. I always think, it's okay, I'll get some in a day or two.
Yeah. So we did that, and
fair enough.
Yeah. There you go. And then we're like, what time is it? Oh, right. Because we knew that they were playing. They were on first for that gig.
Yeah.
So we're like, we go watch them. They're starting now. So I'm walking upstairs into the room, and I could hear this band play, and I was like, well, this is a different band. So maybe they've switched them around after all. I was like, I'll go anyway. And I walked in, and there was like a crowd rock band playing. And I was like, that's interesting. I walked through the crowd, and then I got to the front, and I was like, hang on, what's it? And they played a completely different set of like crowd rock stuff. Yeah, with Hikari was playing drums.
Cool.
And there was no vocals, and it was all like guitars were delayed and stuff. Really rhythmic and just like this bass riff and tap drums over it and stuff, and it was completely awesome. And I said afterwards, like, no guys, that was amazing. They're like, oh yeah, that's what we do now. That was what we did. This is what we do now.
All right.
And then the next night they did like a set where they played half and half. So 50% of it was like sludge, and then there was just this wall of feedback. And then like that, they just changed, and like completely tight, just like sound changed, and they went to the crowd rock stuff. And it was amazing, yeah. And so they were absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, they were really good. And
the Dish Delta from Salt Lake City as well. We toured with them in America, and they're a great band, great bunch of guys. A million other bands that I work with.
Sky's the limit right now.
Yeah,
I really think this is the tip of the spear. Right. I couldn't say I've been in it from the dawn of time, but it's been about 15, 20 years that I've been in and around the scene contributing something from posters and all that. And this is as good as it's gone in the last 20 years in my opinion. So anyway, thank you very much, lads. It's been an honour and a pleasure to get some of your time and shoot the shit.
Cheers.
Absolute pleasure.
Cheers to the whiskey.
All right?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.